over 75% of the communities in our country have only volunteer firefighters. In 2005, there were more than 1,600,000 fires in the U.S. Of these, more than 390,000 were on residential properties. Also, in the year 2005, there were approximately 1,136,000 firefighters in the United States. And out of that, 823,000 were volunteers. Now, as impressive as that is, 823,000 men and women committed to serving their communities as firefighters. In 1983, the United States had a total of over 884,000 volunteer firefighters. That's a decrease in volunteer firefighters of over 63,000. However, the real problem is that since 1983, there have been over 34 million new homes built in the United States. So as more and more homes and commercial structures are built, you would expect that the services needed to protect those properties, our properties, would be increasing as well, but they're not. Our community fire companies find themselves with fewer and fewer volunteer members, and this is a serious issue for all of us.
Manpower issues. Yeah, there are some manpower issues, and I don't really call them manpower issues, I call it depth. When we respond to a fire, any type of emergency, you want some depth. You want a manpower pool. There's many things that goes on at a fire scene. You have traffic control, you have firefighters that are entry firefighters, you need 2 teams, you need drivers, you need actually people to, if there's a helicopter landing, to mind the helicopter landing zone, assist, and if there's any type of casualties. And let me tell you, it's pretty tough. I mean, I'm an older guy, and let me tell you, it takes its toll on you once in a while, you know, and sometimes it does break your heart. But if there's a chance somebody needs to come out and help us, we would sure appreciate it, because especially on the daytime hours when, of course, you know, everybody has to work, when they have children to take care of and so forth. But if there's some people out there that are free and want to help and provide a good community service, we would really welcome you with open arms.
Across the country, the need of volunteers to serve their communities has never been higher. This is especially true in the rural areas, where they have seen the most dramatic drop in volunteer firefighters. So why are there fewer volunteers today than there were 20 years ago? Well, fire service studies suggest various reasons for these changes, due to changes in our sociological conditions, such as the 2-income family and single-parent families, changes in the workplace, including longer commutes and employer constraints, and changes in the urban and the rural populations. Now, additional factors include lack of funding sources and an absence of community support. But that doesn't change the fact that volunteers are needed more than ever. With new homes, housing developments, and commercial buildings being built every day, it's critical that individuals step forward to serve their community, their friends, and even their own family as a volunteer firefighter. So who volunteers to be a firefighter? Men and women who are retired and have extra time. Men and women who have full-time jobs and can only respond at nights or weekends. Men and women who are self-employed and have flexibility in the amount of time they can commit and the times in which they can respond. Young men and women who are students and want a chance to make a difference while they learn about firefighting.
Anybody can be a volunteer. The fire company organization requires many facets to exist. It's like a family. It's a living and breathing thing. Not only do you need the men and women who put on the turnout gear and get on the truck and go to a fire and do that job, the labor end of things, you also need the organizational structure here at the house that supports the physical parts of the job. And it doesn't matter if someone's physically capable of doing this part of the job or wants to do that part of the job. We need people that can run the business side of things, because it has to be run like a business. You have a secretary and treasurers and the president and the vice president and the house trustees who have to, it's the infrastructure of the company. It's not just what you see on the trucks on the street, the younger guys and the younger gals who are doing that physical part of the job, but there's also the house and the family, the organization.
The reasons people become a volunteer firefighter vary. A desire to give something back to the community, the thrill and excitement of the work, the camaraderie with others, family tradition, and the feeling of responsibility for protecting one's family and property.
There's all kinds of reasons why people decide to enter the fire service and become a volunteer firefighter. Some have the bug in their bloodstream from family tradition. Others think that the fire service brings a level of rush or excitement or challenge to their life. And then others have a truly deep desire to give back to the community and help others. And I recall as a small child watching firefighters come to the school on Fire Prevention Week, kind of you know, started my interest in the fire service. And in growing up, we often saw TV shows about the fire department in New York and the firefighters in New York, and they kind of set the standard with fire service. And it's an interesting twist. Back 2 days after September 11th, on September the 13th, I had an occasion with a group of volunteers to go to the city of New York to help out. And near the end of our shift, we were at a staging area at the Staten Island ferry terminal. We saw a bus pull up. And out of that bus came about 30 or 35 firefighters from the fire department in New York, all dust covered, looked like they'd been working all day. And the vast majority of them passed by us sitting on a park bench, and 2 of them stopped. And the one guy shook our hands and asked who we were and where we were from, and thanked us, and followed up saying, well, where are you from in South Jersey? And we had told him Lower Always Creek in Salem County. And he asked what fire department or EMS organization we were with, and we told him from Lower Always Creek. And when he found out that we were volunteers, he kind of welled up, his eyes teared up, and he gave us both a hug, and he and his partner walked away from us. And as they walked away, the one guy who was speaking with us directly stopped and turned around, and he says, you know what? You're the true heroes here. You're the true heroes.
Benjamin Franklin organized the nation's first volunteer fire company in 1736, and for over 270 years, everyday people have become everyday heroes. With personal courage, compassion for others in need, and an unselfish commitment to their families, their neighbors, and their community, volunteer firefighters make a difference every time they're called. Won't you make a difference too? Become a volunteer firefighter. It's important to all of us.